Today, we're doing some experiments comparing Microsoft's Copilot and Google's Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise. I've been working with both of these tool subscription options for the last several days. I had an opportunity to sign up for a free trial of Google's Duet for AI. I'm currently already a customer of Google Workspace for my own personal domain service. I did have to upgrade that from the starter edition to the business standard in order to opt into Duet for AI. And I turned that on and I've got a free trial for that. I've already been a member of Microsoft's 365 family, and then I chose to do the upgrade to Copilot, and I've got a few days left on that. So we're going to try everything out before I have to decide which, if any, of these I'm going to keep. And then we're going to compare it with the existing services that I'm already using. So today I am a ChatGPT Plus subscriber, so I'm paying the $20 a month for OpenAI to provide their services to me. And I've also signed up for Perplexity Pro, which, as you see here, is $200 per year. So quite a few subscription services. And there's definitely some of these that I have a greater affinity to than others. So if I had to choose one right now, it would definitely be Perplexity, but I'm probably going to keep at least one of these services. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But I wanted to share with you my findings and what I've already learned over the last several days in using these tools. So let's take it for a quick spin. So, what I did was I set up a couple of comparisons. First, I started with going to my typical workflow, which is going to Perplexity and asking the question that's on my mind, having it provide that answer back to me. So we'll pull that one up real quick. And the question I asked to Perplexity was, what traditional data science activities can be managed directly by a business analyst using LLMs like GPT-4 or ChatGPT Code Interpreter and Advanced Analytics? And the core of the question here is, how are these large language models changing the profession of data science? And how is it enabling people that are not trained as data scientists to do more work with raw data than they could do before? Now, I definitely agree with a good portion of the answer here. I do think that Perplexity has provided an excellent answer here, and this is good enough for me to take and do something with. In fact, I'm already working on turning this into a presentation to share with some work a little later on as a part of a report that I'm doing. So I took that answer and I said, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, I wonder what ChatGPT says. Now, just for full disclosure here, I am using Claude 2.1 in the answer for Perplexity, and I use ChatGPT a lot. So I wanted to see what kind of an answer it was going to provide. And as you see, it actually provided a number of additional tasks that a large language model can assist with. So the answer is probably a little bit more complete in terms of the breadth and depth. We did not see anything about feature engineering. It did not talk about database querying. And I definitely think that that database querying is something that a business analyst might be able to do, but probably not at an advanced level. So I do think that this is a valid answer and would probably consider this to be a more complete answer in terms of the breadth and depth. But let's not stop there. Let's keep going. With access to these new tools, particularly leveraging Microsoft's Office Copilot, I tried it two different ways in Copilot. And the first was to go and ask directly, what do you think about this question? So I pulled up a brand new Word document and I dropped in verbatim the exact same prompt, the exact same thought that I gave to both ChatGPT and Perplexity, and it created a full document. And the answer that it provided was in the form of a typical paper that you might see written up as a quick answer. There are lots of bullet points, which I do like that it answered in bullet points. It provided four different areas that it could help the business analyst, and then it provided for benefits. So that's quite a little bit of a different answer from the question that I asked. And then I did the same thing with our answer in Google. So I went to Google and pulled up a new document and asked it the same question. And this is the answer that it provided. It gave us that's 6 data points. It included feature engineering, exploratory data analysis. A very similar answer as what we got from ChatGPT. And you should also know that Google is constantly updating their stuff. As I shared in the previous video last week, Google's not sitting at the wheel asleep here. They are really putting in the work to improve the answers. I like their answer. It's very succinct. And in some ways, I think it outperforms the Copilot answer because there's not so much to read. You can always ask for more information. So I do like that it provided a short answer. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to see what I could do in terms of hooking these things together. Because a lot of times I really like the Perplexity answer that I get, and it's also cited. And I wanted to do a little extra using that answer. So I took the response that I got from Perplexity and I gave it to Google. And the Google answer basically takes exactly what I gave it and simply writes it out in the response. So what it did was it saw that it was a complete answer and it left it unchanged because it's in the help me write mode of operation. It's not by default going to rewrite the entire response based on the behavior that we're seeing here. Now, for the case of Microsoft's Copilot, I was not able to paste the entire Perplexity answer into Copilot because the references took us over the limitation of the character count. So I simply pasted the full response and omitted the references that were provided by Perplexity. And this is the output of the document that we got. And what's interesting here is that it does the introduction because it had that little bit of introduction that I got from Perplexity. And then it turns each of those bullet points into its own section heading. And I like this in terms of it is a better written out response. But what I don't like about it is that it does seem to be putting additional information here that may or may not be desired. Now, for bonus points, I said, I wonder what it will do if I gave it the citations separately. And so what I did was I pulled up Copilot and I said, here are my references, put that into an MLA citation format. And it took the references that were in the form of numbers with a URL and actually retrieved the title and the source of that information so that I have a fully formatted set of references. I do like that. That's pretty useful. I find references to really be a pain in the neck to do, honestly, and it did it for me, and it did it correctly. There is not a hallucination in those answers. So I was pretty pleased with the results across the board. I really do think that there's not a bad solution here. All of these did a good job of providing an answer, but depending on the output that you're looking for, you might want to choose one or another. And of course, there's nothing wrong with taking the response that you get out of a large language model and turning that into a document and formatting it. But again, that's something that I don't like to do. So I like what Microsoft did with the answer because it's formatted. I don't have to deal with changing things into headings and titles, changing the format and solving for all of the markup language that you'll get out of a copy and paste from a Perplexity or a ChatGPT. That's it for today's discussion. If you're finding this interesting, I'd love to hear from you. If you are enjoying the channel, please give us a like. If you see something, say something, give us some comments. And in the meantime, go make some AI mistakes.